Hi guys, I'm Mrs. Lane, one of the freshman English teachers, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to critically read a poem. There are some basic protocol questions that we're going to give you that will help you sort of demystify sometimes the mysteries that poetry can be. Before you start this lesson, I highly recommend that you listen to this poem. Tom Hiddleston reads it. It's called Funeral Blues. You can see the text here and you'll see it on the next pages. Okay, so we're going to go forward. Okay, so here are the questions that I'm going to cover today. What is the poem really about? What did you notice? Where's the shift? Who's the speaker and what's the occasion? This poem is really not about a funeral. On the surface, it's about a funeral. So if somebody asked me, what is this poem about? And I said funeral, I would not be wrong. But when we're critically and close reading a poem, it is about something deeper. And so I want you to think about topics that the poem is about. I started with this idea of grief. Yes, it's about a funeral, but it's really about grief. So I extended my thinking, sorry about that. I extended my thinking by saying funeral blues is about the seemingly never-ending and ever-deepening grief that you live with when a loved one dies. That's what I think this poem is really about. So you can tell it's a sad one. Okay? The next thing we're going to ask you to notice and annotate for is, what did you notice? This is when you access all those things that you've ever learned about poetry. Metaphor, simile, rhythm, meter, rhyme, stanzas, all that stuff. So in this poem, I've noticed there's 4 very structured and organized stanzas, and you can read my analysis here. I've noticed some imagery and rhyme scheme. Okay, so this is when you sort of notice that and mark it. The next thing we're going to ask you to do is to notice where the shift happens. If it's a literary poem, there's always a shift in tone, where the speaker goes from sort of one attitude and shifts. These are little shifts. They're not big shifts. They don't go from being exuberantly joyful to despairingly sad, right? They're little shifts. And this poem is an example of each stanza shifting into a deeper level of grief. So you're always looking for little shifts in tone. The last thing I want you to think about is twofold. Who is the speaker and what is the occasion? The speaker is not the poet. So the more you know about the poet, sometimes we want to sort of insert our knowledge about the poet there. That's not appropriate because poets write poems from all kinds of perspectives, from dogs. I've read poems from the perspective of a gun. So the poet and the speaker are different. So we need you to sort of figure out who the speaker is and what is the event or what is the thing that has happened that has caused this poem to be in existence. I love poetry. I hope that these protocols help you love or deepen your understanding of poetry. Happy reading.